Holy Cross! Hi, my name is Anna and I'm a singer.
Hi, my name is Peyton and I'm a dancer.
And there's also a figure out of video frame on the side who you might hear occasionally, Aaron. But today, what are we doing today?
Today, we are back for a very long anticipated comeback. We are so excited to be reacting to Pentagon!
Sorry.
Aaron's asleep on the couch, or trying to be.
But we're filming this very early in the morning because Pentagon first come back in almost a year. They are back as a group with their new song called Feelin' Like. But obviously we watched all the teasers in advance, and this is Chino's first comeback after returning from his enlistment. Unfortunately, Hui is still gone, but like, hope he's doing well. And also sorry if you hear like extra background noise, more so than usual, because we're in New York in a friend's significant other's apartment for a concert and it's loud.
But that being said, we're really excited, so let's go!
It's also very short.
Yeah. They're in like an art museum?
It's been a while. It's been a very long while.
My heart is so happy!
Oh, I like that line.
Apple.
Oh, I was like, oh, it's a football. Cause they're just, yeah. Anyway. See?
Are they the art exhibitors? I would see that exhibit.
Oh. That's really cool.
Oh, hello. It's so like, I can't think of words right
It
now.
feels like the more like trendy of like, you know, fashion show trendy style.
Oh, it's also the Magne Line's birthday week. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, because they're...
Yeah.
He's whispering to you. Do the rings in his hands not obstruct his play?
They're like pool balls.
Oh!
And then they're spreading out.
Oh.
That's such cool imagery.
That's really cool. I would not have made that connection at all.
The art.
Oh. What? They've been using the hi-hat a lot.
Oh. I hear it, yeah. Daisy!
Yeah. It's like the visual art exhibits that you see, the media film ones. You know which museum.
Yes.
That was so short.
But it was so good. Let's just jump right into comments. And the first thing I want to say is this comeback just makes me so happy because obviously they're back, but also this style just suits them so well. So it's such a great comeback to have for like the first time in almost a year. And like Anna will talk about the song, but in my opinion, the dance style just suits them so well. And I think it's because the style itself is a little bit more restrained and it's a little bit more like sophisticated, mature, and it really shows their talent and their experience in the dance. But let's talk about some of the things that do showcase that in the dance, like the specific points. One of the first things I noticed in this were the accents. Something that can make a dance look a lot more refined and also just show your skill level in dance is if you're able to add accents to something. And an accent in this case would be like, is the emphasis of the movement on the out? Is it on the in? Is it down? Is it up? That sort of thing. And I find this especially interesting because so many of the accents are down. They're sending so much energy through the floor, and it's obviously to emphasize what's happening in the song, but typically when I see down accents in a K-pop song, the dance gets really heavy. It's for something that's very like whoo and grounded, whereas this is kind of the opposite of that. Like, other than the fact most of the accents in the dance are down, they're very lifted and they're very up. And so that, again, the fact that there's a contrast shows that higher skill level. Am I going to take this opportunity in this reaction video to talk about how talented Pentagon is? You bet. Because it's not heavy, the accents are more pronounced, and you also see the change in accents because it does change a little bit in the chorus when they're doing the legs that are sort of opening and moving while they're moving their heads around. The accent then changes to the out rather than to the down, and also to whatever direction their head is pointing. And so again, it's just that every single one is so clear, the movements aren't running into each other, that you really feel each of those accents, and it makes each movement more impactful and stick with you. Which brings me to my second point, which is all of the stage pictures that are in this, which I haven't talked about in a comeback reaction in a very long time. It's super prominent here, and I think part of that is the art concept. Like, they're very much trying to sort of exude this like art in motion sort of feeling. There are so many stage pictures in this, and those are really important because they're the moments on stage when there's enough stillness that it sort of imprints itself into your mind. Like, a couple that stick out to me, there's a breath during Wooseok's first rap part when Kino like and high releases, and it's just like a pause and a suspension, and then everyone starts moving again. That was beautiful. All of the chorus, every single time they open their legs and move their head, there's enough space that's another picture. It's just like sort of seeing art piece after art piece after art piece if you were to connect it back to the concept of the music video. But it's not just the fact that there is pausing or like space in those moments. It's also the fact that every single movement has its own time and like doesn't run together. Like I was saying earlier, they're able to kind of both connect and disconnect the movements, and that it feels like one cohesive dance, but it never feels like, oh, I didn't have enough time to finish this arm, so I'm having to pull it back. It's like this, oh, it's so lovely, and it takes so much skill.
It's like seeing a collection of pieces in an art gallery.
Yeah.
So they're all like one cohesive theme.
Yeah. Let's really go with this art theme.
That's like, because you were saying art and museum, so that's what I was thinking.
That's exactly what it's like though. And it is, I would say, more on like the modern art side too, because so much of it is very geometric and there's so many different like angles that they're making all at the same time. It kind of looks like one of those sculptures where you're not entirely sure what the form is, but there's just like different angles and different moving pieces, but it all sort of fits together. It's very lovely. So yeah, I just really liked it. I think they're really talented. I'm really happy. My only complaint about the whole thing is that it's so short because I just missed them so much and I wanted more. But I think for what it is, it's like a good length of song too. So that's all I'm gonna say. Anna's turn.
Hello, so it is time for my comments now. And starting off, I guess the most obvious thing to talk about is the theme that you hear from the beginning, the that just shows how catchy it is, because I've only listened to it like twice all the way through for making these comments. But that is present throughout like most of the song. One thing that I really liked about it, besides like the very catchy pitches and line of it, was the tone quality of that. It's not the voice, but it sounds like it could be someone singing it or just like humming along to it, singing it on duos. It's kind of playful in that way, but also the song is more like stripped back, more refined, more minimalistic. Also what you hear in the beginning of the song, there's these sort of like layered notes that happen after the immediate intro, and then it goes into the first verse of the song. It feels like this like introduction opening up to the song after you get like a little teaser sneak peek of it. It sounded like an organ, but not like an actual organ, like a synth piano keyboard setting. I hope this isn't like like blasphemous, but they're usually associated with like church. So it feels very sort of like opening of the gates, like light is shining on. Let's say like light is shining on an opening, presenting this piece of art. But that's the feeling that it gives, especially since the notes are being layered on top. So the sound is like increasing, like your view is opening, the light is starting to shine on whatever this is. But like I mentioned earlier, overall the song is just more like pulled back, stripped back. One of the main things that you hear is a bass line, like electric bass. They use cymbals, hi-hat a lot, and then like occasional use of the snare, I would say. So when you look at a snare drum, the snares are on the bottom and you can tighten or loosen it and that will change the sound that you hear. So I would say it's a very tight snare, so you don't hear like the little bead looking things underneath moving as much. For the bass line, the electric bass that you hear more in the verses, it's pretty simple when you first hear it, but then as the song goes on, it becomes more intricate. Not too much, but like it does have more leeway with like the notes that it's playing, the rhythms that it's playing. Also with that electric bass line, with each phrase, they still include like the shifting sound along the neck of the bass, which I think is cool because it adds like a zip sort of sound. It's harsher because it's an electric instrument. And initially I was like, what? Why? At the beginning of the bridge, you hear these crackling sounds in the background that sort of sound like when you're in the car listening to the radio and you're on the wrong station and it's trying to connect. So that's also like a more harsher electronic sound. That zip sound of the bass sort of like helps hint, foreshadow at that. But then the second half of the bridge becomes smoother again. Kind of like a sweet serenade sort of vibe. Maybe it's because I was taking a class on 60s music this past week, but it was like very reminiscent to me of like the old 60s, end of 60s into early 70s, like Motown pop leading into R&B vibe that you get. One thing that I haven't talked about is the chorus, where you hear like hit of a bass and then hit of what sounds like a tight snare. It's very short. In the first two choruses, like but then in the final chorus they change it so it sounds more like a cymbal, so it's ringing out a little bit more. It's longer, that second hit. I don't know how that affects the dance, but musically it's just like a slight change for the end for what has been like a pretty repetitive song, but it's also a very short song, so it's not like I'm getting sick of this repetitive. I know I talked a lot, I'm really sorry, but it's okay because this is the first Pentagon comeback in almost a year. Layered background vocals is the last thing that I'm gonna say. They'll get like suddenly layered for a moment in the melody, or in the chorus you just hear instruments and then all of a sudden it'll be like, got me feeling like, and then it's like all the voices layered together, so it's more impactful, especially in a song that is so minimalistic. Anyways, I'm done now. I don't know how to end these comments properly because they also have like little sound effects like ornaments throughout, but I'm way over time. I'm done.
I'm gonna just TLDR.
I don't have the capacity to TLDR right now, even though I think it's supposed to be my turn.
So, that being said, TLDR for this reaction is Pentagon. We waited patiently. Welcome back. We're so happy. Also, Tina, welcome back in the military. And we hope you're doing well. Feeling Like has us feeling all of the things because they are so talented. This song is so catchy, so addicting, and we are just over the moon with this comeback and can't wait for these promotions.
Alright, Aaron, we're almost done.
Sorry, Aaron. Aaron's also excited for the Pentagon.
Clearly. But if you would like to talk with us more about this very, very exciting Pentagon release, modern art,
Maybe not.
art museums, sculptures, then feel free to reach out to us on our socials, which are linked in the cards. And as always, if you enjoyed this reaction video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and bye!